of LSD, he said it just totally tore my head off. And I wonder, just with some of the people that were around Brian at the time of the original SMiLE, in some of the interviews and the commentary, is there an element of denial about just the devastating long-term effect that the drug use had on him?
It's quite possible. I have a series of quotes of Brian talking about LSD in the book. And sometimes he talks about how great it was, and sometimes he talks about how it shattered his mind.
Well, I think at Beautiful Dreamer, he said that initially, at least, it did enhance his creativity.
And so, and then I wrote with Brian, it can all be true. I know nothing about LSD. I never took it. But one of the
Yeah.
things that I heard was it's supposed to make you ego-less.
Ah,
It's
yeah.
supposed to destroy, supposedly supposed to destroy your ego, which makes one wonder if the title Hang On to Your Ego was inspired by what Brian was feeling at the time when that song was composed. Brian did a lot of drugs. There's no getting around that. Danny Hutton says he was taking a lot of speed because he just wanted to keep
Yeah.
working. In later years, as Brian says, 9 years in prison with the defrocked psychologist, he was given tons of psychotropic drugs, which do a lot of damage to you. When he and Dennis were hanging out circa 81 into 82, apparently there was a mountain of cocaine. Brian was not a person of limits when it came to his music, his eating, or his, I guess, his drug intake. And so it's hard to know how much drugs he took and how damaging they were.
Mm.
We can agree that they weren't necessarily good for him. How bad were they? Well, Brian says it shattered my mind into who knows how many pieces. That's what he's saying. When we were on the Charlie Rose show and was asked if there's anything he regretted, he said he regretted taking LSD. How do we reconcile that with the fact that right after that first trip, he goes to the piano and writes California Girls? So we don't. And look, great artists, as we know, suffer for their art. Clearly, he wishes he hadn't taken the quantity of LSD he did.